Returning to Islam's deathbed, we find in Tabari, Volume 9, page 166.
May Allah curse those who make the tombs of their prophets places of worship.
The dying man grumbled, not knowing that Jews don't have shrines, and Christians celebrate the fact that Christ doesn't have a tomb. Yet in Bukhari we read,
The Prophet in his fatal illness said, Allah cursed Jews and Christians because they took their prophets' graves as places for praying. Tabari, Muhammad waged war against the false prophets.
Slitting his own wrists would have done quite nicely.
By sending messengers with instructions to get rid of them by artful contrivance.
Hitler had a word for artful contrivances too, propaganda. Con men don't like competition. Even today, Islam deceives its non-Muslim enemies using al-Takeka, which means the legal lie. Calling jihad a spiritual struggle is a Takeka. His rivals eliminated, the Prophet turned his attention to weightier matters.
Tabari, he turned to me, saying, Abu Muahiwa, I have been given the keys of the treasuries of this world.
It was always about the money. While demons provide the bookends for history's most
artful contrivance,
nothing but money and blood fills the pages in between. Knowing that the Grim Reaper was calling his name, Mohammed decided to visit his final accommodation.
Tabari, Aisha said, when the messenger returned from the Baqi cemetery, he found me. He was suffering from a headache and crying, Alas, O my head! He moaned, Nay, by Allah, O Aisha, rather, alas, O my head!
To know he suffered is some small consolation to the billions he has made suffer.
Then he said, Would it distress you if you were to die before me, so that I could take care of your body, wrap you in a shroud, pray over you, and bury you?
The hadith says that Aisha was just 18 years old, so she was a little young to be buried. However, Muslims were never very good with math. Since we're in the 11th year of the Islamic era, and the 53-year-old Prophet married his child bride at its onset, she must have been 7, not 9, when she was removed from the swing, plucked from childhood, and thrust into his lap.
Aisha replied, It seems to me that if you were to do that, you would return to my apartments and would party with one of your other wives.
Out of the mouths of babes. While out visiting his future quarters, the Prophet revealed this racist verse.
Bukhari, the Prophet went out after sunset and heard a dreadful voice. He said, The Jews are being punished in their graves. Bukhari, when the ailment of Allah's apostle became aggravated, he requested his wives to permit him to be nursed in my apartment. They gave him permission. He came out between two men with his feet dragging on the ground.
Reverting to witchcraft we read in both Tabari and Bukhari.
The messenger's illness intensified. The pain became fierce. So he said, after entering my apartment, Pour 7 skins of water over me from different wells, and from skins whose mouths have not been untied, so that I may give advice to the people.
Feeling guilty and dreading his own encounter with eternity, he said,
Your rights are dear to me, so whomever I have flogged on his back with a whip, here is my back, let him avenge. Whomever I have reviled, here is my honor, let him retort, that he should absolve me from it, so that I shall meet the Lord while I am exonerated.
Yes, it's true. Mohammed was concerned about meeting his Lord. Islam's lone prophet was unsure of his own salvation.
Bukhari, when Allah's apostle became seriously sick, he started covering his face with a woolen sheet. When he felt short of breath, he removed it and said, That is so, Allah's curse be on Jews and Christians.
I don't think he had a nice bone in his entire body.
Tabari, The messenger's pain became so severe, he said, "Give me pen and paper so I may write a document for you, so that you will never go astray after me."
He knew that the Koran was rubbish, and he was trying to make amends. Yet there's a time bomb lurking in Mohammed's unguarded words. His timeless document was going to be from him, not his God. There was no pretense of receiving divine revelation. His final masterpiece was going to be from his own hand. Speaking of the Koran, guess what? Mohammed never asked or ordered anyone to collect his surahs and write them down in a book. Not one person, not one time, ever. With 1,000 obey me, 1,000 pay me, and 1,000 go out and fight for me, there wasn't one write for me. He knew the Koran was only revealed to serve his interest, and that it would be of no value once he was gone. Recognizing that their prophet was illiterate and about to make a fool of himself, we read,
His companions wrangled over it, but it did not benefit them to carry on a dispute before a prophet. Some people said, "What is the matter with him? Is he talking nonsense? He is delusional."
It's a shame it took so long to figure it out.
Others said, "We must ask him for an explanation." So they went back to him and repeated what had been said. The prophet replied, "Leave me alone."